Now there's sound.
I love your voice, Judge.
We being of sound mind.
Microphone voice. Hey, Mike.
Hey, so you're saying I have a...
Austin.
Did you say you have a face for
face for radio? Is what?
That's my radio voice.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Okay.
We have Doug running camera tonight.
Doug. Security's here in the house.
How nice.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Right,
our
gentlemen.
sound has been tested and proven.
Good to know.
All right, guys, with that said, give us a countdown. We're going to have some fun tonight. God, do you feel Christmas is getting close?
I do. I can't wait for our Christmas Eve show.
I just want to train for Christmas.
Okay. Doug, you going to give us a countdown, sir?
Let's do this. Let's go 3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
And by GL Robotics. With over 61 colors of 3D printing filaments in stock, your gateway to new technology. Check out their website at glroboticsusa.com. And by ABR Model Works. ABR Model Works designs and makes model railway building kits and scenic accessories for HO scale, with an emphasis on ease to build and highly detailed, realistic-looking scenes, and are available at Spring Creek Model Trains. Check out their website at abrmodelworks.com. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. Additional support is provided by Jelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at jelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast.
This is the What's Neat This Week Show and Model Railroading podcast number 218 for December 10th, 2022. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat Show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And that November video that's running right now has got well over 30,000 views on how to build Leitner trestle, and a special segment from Bachmann Industries on that brand new easy DCC command system that they just came out with. It's the same body, the same shape as the original, but all kinds of features built into it with a lot of lighting effects and all 28 functions. So there's a lot of neat stuff in that video that just came out, or is coming out.
Yes.
It's out.
December.
That's how it got 30,000 views. Let's see how high that one goes. That's a good shot. Tonight I've got with me, sitting off to my favorite side over here, I've got Mike Buddy.
Hey, everybody.
Mike, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for running camera for us, Doug. Sitting right next to me on the other side, I got Sugarfire Joshua Barton.
What's up, everybody?
Who's opening up his restaurant January 2nd, right?
January 2nd is
January
opening
2nd.
date. Yes.
We can go get full racks of ribs and bring them home, and you love them.
That's right.
I'm doing that. I so bad want to. All the way over next to Joshua, we've got our favorite, who we haven't seen in so long, Austin Allard.
Good to be here.
Hey, Austin.
Good to see you.
He's been busy.
I know, right? He's got a great layout. He's on his third pickup truck in how many months?
I
Six?
know.
Fourth
pickup
in a year.
truck.
I know, right? Make models of all of them, and you got an auto-rack load. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. We've got some new models from Bachmann Industries that we will be sharing on the show in the next couple of weeks, of which we're going to create a 2023 Bachmann catalog cover for them. Looking forward to doing that. As years in the past, I've shared with you the Charger locomotive that we did for them last year. The year previous to that was that Dash 9 Santa Fe war bonnet locomotive in G scale. What a great cover shot.
Sure
Another
was.
shot that I remember going back would be this Hudson. I think it was a streamlined locomotive that ran on the cover of that catalog. A beautiful green. Must have been Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Because it's green. It was at Brunswick. It was beautiful. There's a lot of previous Bachmann covers that I've done through the years just to help them create that beautiful thing that's set on the table at trade shows. And we're going to do that this year and create a What's Neat video for the February What's Neat on whatever scene it is they choose for me to build. Hopefully I get to copy a prototype picture because that's the kind of modeling I like to do. So many modelers out there model out of books. A lot of modelers simply model from snapshots of rail fanning, and that's my favorite way to do it, because when you find a favorite location in town, like you have done with your layout, why don't you tell us about that a little bit?
So it wasn't always, I didn't always think to do DeSoto, Missouri. When I originally set out to build a layout that size, that caliber, I've done a lot of smaller layouts, but I wanted to incorporate certain things. I wanted something that immersed people that maybe weren't into the model trains closer to the train set, because I noticed a lot of people that aren't into trains don't, want to come over as much.
Right.
I also wanted to have a turntable and a roundhouse. I've always wanted one, never had enough room to have one, especially in HO scale. So with those factors and the space that I was working with, I actually started drawing up different drawings on a sketch pad, and we'll get some closer pictures here. But I went through many renditions before I even realized that I wanted to do DeSoto. And it hit me one night. We were driving through DeSoto, me and a friend of mine, and I thought, well, this has everything that I want. It has a long, straight stretch of track. It had a turntable at one time and a roundhouse, and it incorporates a lot of different things. So I could take that, and what I did was for every inch on this paper was a foot in real life.
Okay.
So I knew exactly how much land I needed. And then I started buying the different buildings and stuff, and I would put the buildings on the layout knowing how much I would have room for. I'm not a computer guy. I can't go into a CAD program and just draw everything out. That was too new for me. So I was into sketching and doing that kind of stuff. And so all I needed was a ruler and a tape measure and a piece of paper, and that's what I did. And I have drawn 3 or 4 different sketches before I got to one that I kind of liked. And now that's what it turned out to be, But it was just as much finding out elements of what was in DeSoto just as much as it was deciding that DeSoto was my thing, If you go to DeSoto, I had lots of help. I had lots of different things. Mopac has a big heritage. They have a heritage society here, and they've helped me with a couple things. If you go to DeSoto, they have a giant memorial for all the railroad workers that have ever worked in DeSoto, from the Iron Mountain Railroad to Mopac to Union Pacific now. And I have this picture here, and this has every DeSoto Railroad milestone from 1857 all the way up to 2008. And it depicts everything. The first 16-stall roundhouse was in 1874. And then they turned around and added a turntable and 17 additional stalls in 1879. So they were big and booming there as the Iron Mountain Railroad before Mopac ever came to existence. And there was a lot of things. I found this book when we went to Lombard Hobbies up in Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago.
How crazy is that? I found a DeSoto, Missouri book at Lombard. But this has everything from stories about how there was these natural springs that came up, calling it the Fountain City. All the water for all of the drinks that were consumed at the 1904 World's Fair were shipped in from DeSoto from their natural springs. And that's why they got the name Fountain City, and that's why I call my railroad the Fountain City. But even these ledgers here, timetables, that really helped me out too, because I knew different times of when the trains were going to come through DeSoto for operations later on. But now I have everything, it's supposed to be here at this time, well, it's running late or whatnot. But this gives me everything for all of the railroads that are Mopac that were right around there. So these keys are crucial to adding into your own layout, you know? I mean, to get it, especially if you want to have a whimsical layout and nothing be prototyped, then that's one thing.
Right.
But I want to stay true at some point to the DeSoto railway system. And so these books and these other things have gotten me all this knowledge, you know. Go to the library by where you're looking for your stuff. You know, you can find so much stuff just walking down the track, make sure you're not trespassing. But, you know, going around where these railroads are, I mean, there's a lot of heritage, a lot of old buildings that, you know, 30, 40 years ago, they were hustling and bustling, and now they're just old and decrepit, but they're still amazing. So
DeSoto's a good town to model for like a shelf layout too.
because it's a straightaway.
Right,
and
just a long, layout, yard, and then one main street, and then a couple blocks back is a big bluff.
Yeah, and if you look at it,
It's amazing. It's this bluff, and they've got a road going up it.
Right.
That blew my mind when I was
The
out there a
roads
month
keep
ago.
getting steeper and steeper until
it does. And depicting that in your model railroad, I use selective compression.
right.
So I tried to get that really steep feel with the church and the other church and then the gas station there, but that's what I wanted to bring into DeSoto. You know, I've seen other pictures of people depicting DeSoto and stuff, but they don't have the allure of that bluff. You know,
Yeah.
that's really what makes the whole town.
Right.
So it's really fun to do all this research and then to put it into a model perspective, you know, and all these different things at your disposal that you can use or decide not to use. So, you know, I mean, it's all...
You would enjoy belonging to a historical society because a great deal of the hobby that people find pleasure in is what you've just described, the planning part of it, the history part of it, understanding that, and then you start to develop a passion for modeling the time.
Well, what brought me to this was our conversation last week of you saying I had so much fun building that new layout and designing that new layout. And, you know, right now I don't know if all of you know, but I'm in a little bit of a railroading funk. I haven't really done
Well, you're
anything.
opening a new restaurant.
I know
time,
there's a lot of there's tons of other elements in my life, but you know, it's always been an outlet, and now I feel like I have builder's block almost, you know, a former writer's block.
I haven't
that-
built a model in a year.
I know.
Except for your restaurant, we put together that display for the
was
RPME.
Yep.
That was the only
And then
thing
I
that
built
I've
this
done
diorama
year.
for shooting some models on that we're going to have on the 21st of January.
So I bought a new model today with Mike at the hobby store, and I really want to go gun ho
You guys
with
went
it.
to the hobby store again today?
Right.
Dude, we
Went
go.
up to
Dude, I need to
we
get
go all the
out.
time.
Yeah.
You won't go with us.
I need
Go,
to get
go
out.
with us.
I want to. Oh my God. Austin Allard. Now, a lot of what I've seen you doing lately has been modeling vehicles, but that layout you built, I would say you built it that you enjoy the part of the hobby, not necessarily modeling prototype locations, but modeling consists. You like to model trains. You like to model the trains that you see.
Yes.
And that's a whole nother different facet of the hobby.
I think I like the run by effect and being able to have a static scene and then have the train roll by, because that's obviously the focal point for a layout. The modeling of the trains are the focus, and everything else around it can be static, you know. And you look at real life, I mean, obviously the trees blow, but that's such an insignificant part. Other than like vehicles and people walking, there's really not that much that moves. Like the buildings don't move, the trees don't move, you know, a lot of stuff is static, and I'm looking forward to diving into scenery. I've actually spent the last 6 months tearing up my track.
There you go.
We're up code 100.
Again.
No. This
Again.
time is code 100 to code 83, so I'm finally got it all done. I've been running trains a little bit the past couple weeks. Started on a ballast train, so I ordered a bunch of cars from Athearn, the Herzog ones. A huge shout out to Greg McComas at Mac Rail. He has some really, really cool products. There's everything from ballast dumps, so it's a standard thrall hopper, but he 3D prints I think it's actually resin cast, but it's a ballast dump. There's 4 per car, so I installed those. And then there's also solar panels, so that when the ballast trains are moving, they're being tracked by satellite GPS. so that when they roll across the grade crossing, they don't dump ballast all over the road. So that's something I bought too
Amazing.
that I'm working with him. So, but other than that, I've been in a modeling lull too. But I'm back. I feel good.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
got a
You-
new
you
job.
tweak a little better.
A new
little
job
more.
and 4 new trucks. And I think we're good to go.
I know, right? I talked to Bernard tonight. I think you know him,
Mini
Joshua.
Prince?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
Mini Prince.
We're all
Bernard
friends.
Hellens? Yes,
Hello.
hey.
Hi, Bernard.
Miniprince.com.
He's the one that did the little
Little Lionel.
Yeah,
That's right.
Right.
He makes a really neat set. It's a crew change pack. It's
Yeah.
more of a modern
Yeah.
one.
Evidently, he's got a pretty good website. We make
Oh,
your
it's
model
awesome.
railroad come alive.
Yeah.
He started with
Yeah.
animals.
I got a 4-wheeler with a guy driving on it from him. I got some conductors and some yard hands that hang off. He does all kinds of cool stuff.
I bought the Sasquatch,
Nice. I have a
the
little.
Bigfoot. So I'm going to
So
model.
you guys
Bigfoot.
are already aware of this
Oh, yeah.
company.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He
Why
prints-
am I always
he
the
prints
last
some
one to learn
pretty
about
cool
stuff like this?
Man,
Because
we
you
talked
never
about-
listen when we
Yeah.
tell you about the cool stuff going on.
I edit the video. Do I really
so,
listen?
so Bernard's big thing is he
Is?
takes a computer program with a reader and he goes boop, 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 and then there's a little Ken.
And that's
not that we need any more
exactly
Kens
what
running around.
he wants
but-
to come out here and do probably in February.
So that means
He
you
wants to
can
set
have
up his scanner here and scan people on the show live, and then we're going to print out Austin Allard.
you
Hope
can
he's got
have.
enough
He
room
actually
in there.
wants a Joshua. He said he wants a Joshua.
We can all be on the miniature sugar fire.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Having lunch. Yeah. If the company ever starts running. So sorry, everyone who wants a sugar fire. It's going to be a little longer before I have them out. So,
I
Right.
think I've seen he takes that to train shows, and
He
you
does.
can like walk up to
Yeah.
him and like he'll print your.
Peter Borchers,
Yeah.
He said he's going to do
print
that, I
them.
think, in Springfield, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
if
Yes.
I heard him
Yeah.
correct on
Right.
the phone.
January,
Yep.
yeah.
That's the show,
pretty
and then
neat.
that at the end of January, after that show, then he'll work his schedule to come here.
nice.
we met Peter Borchers at the Kansas City NMRA.
Yeah.
You and him, and
few
I
years
have a
ago.
picture of you guys with, you have a mask of Peter Borchers.
Is that right?
Bernard made a 3D copy of him, and he's holding his pet duck. And it's such a cool little model. I can't wait to get my own. But yeah. He does a great job. These 3D models are just stellar.
Well, that'll be interesting to watch how he does it.
Yes.
He uses resin printers, he said. I told him we've got that filament printer here from Greg Summerland at GNLRoboticsUSA.com, but he said he wanted to use a resin printer for this because he said when you start scaling people down into HO scale, the noses and the fidelity of the face and all of that lends itself better to a resin printer because it's got a higher print range.
Rate,
Yeah,
right? The little lines are closer together, and
Right.
makes sense.
There's a lot of companies that are popping up. We saw a gentleman at the NMRA show, if I remember right, that was selling locomotive shells for the most obscure little electrics, little industrial electric switchers.
and-
And this boy, I think, was 19 years old. He
Yeah.
was very young.
Yep.
And he managed to come up with...
And had a ton of products that were in development too. I mean, his name and his company escapes me. I'm sure we can go back and look at it.
There was another one we talked about last week for the first time that we just learned about was his Yelton models, but
Yeah.
you already
Yes.
knew about it, Mike.
Right,
Yeah.
right. They're
Because
the
he
ones
was
that,
sending you vehicles.
and he did my speeders for that one project, and
Right.
the Vertipack doors, those big doors that I got.
With all this technology, the doors are opening so much more for the everyday people like Mike and me.
Right.
And Austin, not you, you're upper echelon, but to do
He's an
a lot of this
advanced
stuff. Yeah,
modeler.
he's an advanced modeler. He gets the. Anyways, but I mean, there's so many easier things coming out for us to use at our disposal to get to that upper level
Right.
that you are.
But you mentioned the man Steve Tuff, and that was a guy that owned
Yes.
YeltonModels.com.
Yes.
and
Yep.
YeltonModels.com. I think we showed a bit of his website on the
Dan
screen.
Notley is the other guy.
Yeah.
What a bunch of nice guys to
Yeah.
talk to on the phone. And they're also in Canada. In fact, the gentleman we were just talking about, Mini
Yeah.
Prince, is in
Right,
Canada.
he's in Canada, yeah.
We just need to go to Canada, eh?
What was that other manufacturer we had? KR Models, the one that was
right.
making the European.
Right.
He's in Canada.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
a lot of firms from Canada that have
Yeah.
been sharing their wares in the show. Now, ABR Model Works.
Oh, they're
Chris.
They're not in Canada.
Chris is in Australia.
They're in Australia. Eh?
Right.
Throw a couple shrimp on the bobby.
We talked to Chris tonight, and he asked if we would show off this kit that you've got already laid out, Joshua.
I do. Look at these. Look at these laser cut pieces that are on here. I mean, the what is
ABR
this?
Model Works.
Roof trusses. You know, all the.
So this is an engine house?
Yes, it's a two-stall engine
two-stall
house.
maintenance shed.
And look at all these
Maintenance shed.
3D parts that they have in, and I mean the detail that's in these parts that are in here. You know, and you know you're saving money by cutting your own pieces off. If he was there milling and cutting all this off and doing that, he would have to charge a whole lot more. This is giving you freedom.
I like the windows.
I do too. It's very cool. Very well put together models. The Slim's warehouse I'm building now, and I think it's great. You know, the pieces of wood too. I've had a problem that if you have a wood model and you paint one side and don't paint the other side,
it warps.
It warps.
Yep.
These are nice and thick, and that doesn't happen. That's another nice thing about it.
Now, he's got something going on here. I think we're going to bring him in on the show on Skype one day so he can talk about some of the projects that he's working on.
Yeah.
He's even working on some Fremo modular base systems or something that will be pre-designed for the modelers out there. But this is, he said, it's some time off. He was mentioning something about that. The most amazing thing about his website is if you go to abrmodelworks.com, he's got downloadable PDF files where you can start building your paper cardboard mock-up buildings and then order the parts from him to make it out of either 3D printed window parts and or walls laser cut with the brick detail already in them. So that's another neat concept is he offers the modelers the ability to do that.
And he has these walls and these little plastic applicators that you slide each wall into to make either a corner or a wall longer. And that takes a lot of the guesswork out of building a model and knowing if you have enough room to kit batch a model into a bigger form.
There you go.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, before we go to Mike, I just want to say that our show mascot, Stripe, went to the Great Model Railroad in the Sky on Wednesday, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. God bless her. We miss you, but you were a good cat. So rock and roll. I know it's going to break Denny Yelsma's heart when he hears about that.
Can we get a bobcat? Let's get a bobcat there.
Hollywood.
We just need the
Hollywood's a
raccoons
dog.
to come back.
All we do is we put some meat out, we let him come in here, we close him in here with you, and if he lasts the night, then he stays.
Mike, buddy, look at the table tonight. We are adorned with some of your works of art, i.e. autoracks.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people have the modern Intermountain racks like Austin, and then there's been a few nice models recently like Athearn and AccuRail about the open racks, but if you model the 1970s, you got to have a lot of these first generation open racks that had various side panels put on the side to protect the loads. And like this first one right here actually is a model of a car built in 1970 by Paragon with fiberglass sides on it. That was one of the early things they tried for side protection. And Southern Railroad also did that. This is a model of the white Kevlar panels they used. And Southern Pacific, Cotton Belt, MKT, they used a lot of these translucent corrugated fiberglass panels. You could still see through them, but they protected the load. But then after the years, they turned brown, and that's really what I model towards the end of their lives. So then eventually most of the railroads settled on corrugated metal siding, and I simulated that on these cars with evergreen styrene siding.
Nice.
And Plastruct also has some really nice corrugated siding. I've never tried it, but I've seen people use it. It's actually thinner than this evergreen, and it's corrugated on both sides. So I'm looking forward to getting some of that and trying to, because I've got some more autoracks I want to build. I can never have enough. Sorry.
So the reason they put these sides on these cars is because people would try and vandalize the cars inside them.
Stealing parts, mainly for rock protection. Kids would throw bottles and rocks and stuff at them,
and anything kicking up when you're riding down the
But
tracks,
actually, when they first started using these side panels, it actually provided cover to thieves who would jump on the train, and then nobody could see them, and they're stealing tires, batteries, and they would throw the stuff off the train at a certain point where they had their friends waiting. And so I've been talking to people on Facebook, and I've
That's
heard
probably modeled on Vic's layout.
Yeah, probably.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a dangerous town there.
Yeah.
But see, these are so new to me, are different to me, because I grew up in an era that I never saw those. They were always covered, you know.
Right.
And I didn't know any different until I started hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, the first purpose-built full-sided ones were the safe packs in 1975, and then shortly after that they started building the ones with the perforated panels like we still see today. So late 70s, there were still a lot of these original racks that were originally open and had side panels added to them. But
I'm glad they added them. Where would our graffiti go if you didn't have the sides?
Yeah, right. They didn't have much of a problem with it back then, and with graffiti back in the era I model.
Mike, you've got 6 variations here of autoracks and bi-level and tri-levels, and they're all open. We've seen previous companies come out with autoracks that were open. It was the AccuRail model, as I recall, and then Athearn had come out with a bi-level open autorack.
And tri-level.
Did they come out with tris?
Yes.
But what they haven't done is there's so many more variations. Again, the panels, the white panels.
Well,
on this rack
Athearn did one bi-level with the corrugated fiberglass panels, a Southern, with the white panels, just kind of like this, only the sides were corrugated with the green lettering on it. I thought maybe they would bring a lot more of them since they had the molds for that, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
But so far they haven't done it. So
there's a lot more opportunity out there for the manufacturers to get on board with regards to modeling this era of the autoracks, because this is a transition time when there were so many different experimental things going on, but they were still prevalent on the railroad.
Well, that's why I really settled on this era. First of all, there was a lot of 1977, 78 vehicles available, and but that in that era there was a lot of open racks left. There was a lot of these kind, and then the newer, brand new, fully enclosed auto racks. I can run them too, and I like the bicentennial stuff, and a lot of the fallen flags that were still around in the late 70s. And then there were the brand new shiny IPD box cars, the per diem cars that came out in the late 70s. That was just a really exciting, colorful time to me, compared to today, which, you know, there's not much going on except graffiti. And
I mean, those rainbow passenger cars that they would run after they were all dissolved into Amtrak.
Right, in the early 70s. That was nice.
Did you hear they may be bringing a stop in DeSoto back on the Amtrak?
Is that right?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Well, that's a nice town. I'm sure there's a lot of those rental little bed and breakfast type places down there.
Yeah.
And plus you get to see the whole car shops of where they still build and repair autoracks.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a nice place.
It is.
Part of tonight's show is brought to you by the letter N.
Oh, where's James?
I know, right? Where's James when he says that? Denny Jelsma at Jelsma Graphics, Jelsma.com. Hey, Denny. Sorry to inform you about Stripe. I know you loved her. He had 5 new logos he wanted us to share on the show tonight, and I've got to put on my glasses to see what this first one is. It's the New York Central Streamlined locomotive in silver.
Cool.
This is all stitched, so those threads would shine. Santa Fe all the way. Those are some F7s, the 300 class.
War bonnet scheme.
Yes, how beautiful is that? Another one he had us to look at tonight was the Oregon, California, and Eastern Railway.
I have one
Quite
of
an
those box
interesting
cars.
logo. It must go like that.
Very
And then the Wheeling Way.
Wheeling Way. I've never heard of that one. That one's very cool. What are the are those
Okay.
are those tulips?
Yeah, he gave us another one that's got some pretty flowers on it for
Aw,
Pella, Iowa,
that's very
because that's
nice.
that's Denny's
Tipping
stomping
to the
grounds.
tulips.
Pella.
Yeah. Pella bologna.
So yeah, that's
Watch
awesome.
out for the Bologna Express out there.
All these logos could be put on hats, jackets, or anything to that effect. He also wanted us, like I said, the show is brought to you by the letter N. And I've
letter
got the
N.
server under the table running right now. So I screen
Excellent.
capture, and we can go through and see. And I bet it's going to be Norfolk and Southern somewhere in there, you think?
Nice. There's no and. It's
There's
just
no and Norfolk and Southern. The
No.
Dixie line.
I like that. Look at that.
L&N.
Yeah. Very nice.
N&W.
New Hampshire, New Haven.
New Haven.
Yeah.
Northern Pacific.
The electrics.
Ooh,
Ooh,
that
that is
green
pretty
one.
cool.
Yeah, look at that.
See, all these would be just
Very
beautiful on
cool.
the back of a jacket, especially
Wow, that
look at
one's
that
elaborate.
Haven, yeah.
coming out of that bridge.
Very cool.
Just a lot of beautiful
Oh,
graphics
very
of just that
neat.
railroad. Is there that many more railroads? New York, New Haven, and Hanford.
Yeah, well, apparently New Haven, the Blue Comet,
We should have a contest to see who knows what starts with N. New Jersey Transit,
New York Central.
right? Streamlined. I think Broadway Limited made that locomotive.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
I'd like to get the owner of Broadway Limited on this show. It'd be a great interview to do with
I
him.
That would be
agree.
pretty neat.
Super nice guy.
Those hybrids that they make.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice.
Beautiful shot here of
Yeah.
some E units,
Ooh.
F7s, with the New York Central paint
Yeah,
scheme
Boston.
on them.
Oh, 20th
those are
Century
neat, too.
Limited. Very
Oh,
cool.
Norfolk
There's
Southern.
NS,
NS.
Norfolk Southern here, right?
Correct. Good
With
job.
the locomotive and the weathered rail and the wheels in that locomotive, that would look awesome on the back of a jacket. Look at
Yes.
my brand new NS jacket. Yes.
Ooh, Nickel Plate Railroad. None of us thought of that.
Nope,
Yeah.
forgot that one.
I love that blue and white paint scheme.
Oh my God! Shout out to Tom Pothest. He was in the Midwest Valley Modelers Club with us, and he loved the Nickel Plate Road.
Really?
I remember that's the railroad he used to. I know he's probably listening. He does.
He's
watch
modeling
the show.
Frisco in S scale
Is
now.
that right?
Yeah, he's down in Texas.
Wow.
Here we got the nickel plate roads with the graphics. Again, this is all stitched art. You can find it at jelsma.com. Thank you very much, Denny, for
Yeah.
helping us
Absolutely.
support the show the way you do with us. We really appreciate everything you do for us. As I stop the screen capture, isn't this wonderful how this works? It's like we have it down to a system.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's like
a
you've done
science.
this before.
Once or twice.
Coming up
or-
on 30 minutes, is there anything else going around the table?
I would like to say, speaking of autoracks, I'm kind of excited. Intermountain announced tri-levels
Is that right?
very
with the
cool.
new paneling, and so I've seen a lot of the older railroads. I saw Cotton Belt, Mopac, a lot of the older ones, but there's a few new ones in there that I may have to pick up.
Nice.
I wish they would release their auto rack without the roof and without the doors. And I even wrote Frank a letter about it, but he never replied. I think they would sell a lot for this very era right here.
I know that if you drop them off of your layout,
Yeah.
the doors and the top automatically come off. So as
Well,
long
I
as nothing else
started a
breaks, then you're
project.
good.
I started about
Oh my gosh.
3 or 4 of those. I took some Intermountain racks and popped the tops off. Some come off a lot easier than others.
Yeah, you'd have
It
to
was
drop
pretty
it twice.
pretty hair raising twisting those things to get the roofs off. But yeah, I think you should offer it without the roof and doors. That's a whole other segment. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Remember, everybody, Christmas is coming up, and everyone deserves at least one train, maybe 2.
I think you should
But
buy a
the-
DCC
The
system.
best way to control those trains is with the NCE system.
That's what I'm going to use tonight to run
That's
some
right.
trains.
For $199.
You guys were already using this today.
Yeah,
Yes, we
You
were.
guys were running a train
I
already.
was running a train.
and you
yes.
were using the other.
And we're going to run
Yes.
a train in moments. I can't
Okay.
wait.
This
I
is
can't
awesome.
wait. It's
I want
so
to.
exciting.
One more show to do this month, guys, or did you say we're doing
Next week.
What do you got in mind for Christmas
We
Eve?
might do
You
2
got something?
shows. Maybe. I may have something in mind.
All right.
So,
All right, with that, gentlemen, best hobby in the world with the best people in it. We are going to run trains with our NCE Power Cab, and I hope you're running with us tonight.
I sure am.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Gentlemen, with that, let's go run some trains.
All right. That was a great show.
9
See?
o'clock.
Another,
That was pretty good.
another one.
Keep camera 1 rolling. Thank you, Doug, for running camera for us tonight.
Good job, Doug.
Richard, it's good to see you tonight.
Yay.
We got
All
security.
right, so you don't want to do a thumbnail at the table tonight. You want to do one on the layout.
Correct.
So I'm going to shoot some video of us watching the train, and that's the thumbnail.
Yep,
shot.
and the train's gonna come through, and we're all gonna wave at the end,
Okay, so
just like
set-
we always
set
used
that
to do.
all up.
It's gonna be like old time.
Just like old times.
It's already set up. I'm ready. Are you ready?
Just turn it on and go.
Perfect. Keep that one rolling, and I'm rolling credits, and I will kill sound. Take off your microphones.
Sound has been murdered.
I get to call Holly.
Murder time.
Holly, the kids are in the back porch. This is going to be fun tonight.
I got a text from
Where?
him.
Are they still?
Ray.
I got a text from him. I was able to call Ken at Advanced Modeler on the show.
Okie dokie. I'm stopping sound in 3 seconds.
Did you kill power to the land?
I don't know.
Alright. Ready?
Okay, everybody look at the
Everybody
camera. I
look.
give them my thumbnail to the camera. Okay.
How's that? Is that good? You like that? Is that good? You liking the juice? The
Rock
juice
and
is
roll.
good? Yeah.
Oh. All right. Somewhere there was a
Your Care
Somewhere
Bear.
in there is a train.